Hello there. We're back with some more set review action. Today we've got aggression. Hector is still here. Let's get into it. First up, we've got Darth Maul.
Darth Maul. I think his ability to deal damage to a unit and then to another unit is kind of cool. Yes, you have to use the force for it. When he's deployed, it's just on attack, so that's a little better. I'm just not excited by the 5/6 for a 6-drop.
Yeah, 6 to play 5/6. I really like that 6th power or an extra HP or something. One more point
Yeah,
stat there. Um, his front side, is fine. Like, if your opponent has 2 units, this ability is really efficient. The problem is your
yeah,
opponent actually having 2 units.
right.
They want to hit, because if they don't, you have to hit your own stuff, which most of the time is a downside.
Yeah, yeah.
And 6
You
to play
have to
is
deal
just.
the damage to two units.
Mhm. Yeah, 6 to play is just really late. Like, it's. You gotta have a really impactful front side, and I don't think his ability is that impactful that often to justify such a late deploy.
No, and then when he deploys, it's not really that much of an upgrade.
Yeah. Um, so I think Taliesin will see play over him if we're playing a
Yes.
blue-red force force deck. So pretty doom and gloom for him in a competitive premiere, unless people
Right.
are trying to force the showcase on or whatever.
I
The next up is Third Sister.
kind of like her better than Darth Maul. However, she's got like the IG-88 numbers.
Yeah,
But I don't know. Maybe you can do some sort of hidden deck where uh, some sort of aggro deck where at least you increase the odds of your units living to see the next turn.
yeah, I think that's their definite use case is trying to be aggressive and making all your units a little bit stickier. Um, and then her deployed side is just the opposite of that. She's not very sticky.
No,
um,
no, it's like great. She gets attacked. Granted, she won't be attacked on the deploy turn, but after that, I mean, if you still happen to have one, potentially a turn one play can kill her.
yeah, which is annoying. And she still dies to open fire, takedown, force lightning, all
Yeah,
these other things on the fly, which is slightly annoying. Like not being able to be ambushed is nice, but yeah, I don't know. The stats just don't excite me. I definitely think she's like fine. She's playable. I could see people playing her in aggressive shell and having success with it.
might be okay in limited.
Yeah, she's probably really good in limited. I would assume less hard removal for your leader, so she actually gets to stick around and get an upgrade.
Yeah.
Now we've got Kit Fisto.
Um, the ability is okay. I mean, you spend one, but if you attack with a Jedi, you can deal 2 damage to a unit. Um, I mean, spending one to do 2 damage to a unit is fine.
Mhm.
You know, people play Daring Raid, so. But then he flips as a 1/6. You have to have at least 2 other Jedi out to uh, at least make him like other 5-drops.
Mhm.
Leaders like 3/6. Fine, he's got Saboteur. I don't know. I don't see this one being that good.
His stat line just kills it for me. Like
Yeah,
his front side's really great. Like honestly, 2 damage on demand for 1 resource is a pretty great ability, but deploying as a 1/6 if your board's empty is just terrible. Like
yeah, and that's way too easy to happen.
um, yeah, if you're playing against any other controller mid-range deck that can manage your board, like he just has no stats, which is awful.
Yeah,
So yeah, I'm definitely not going to be playing him. I could still see him seeing some play because his front side is that strong, but and I don't know. He might just be propped up by like the card pool around Blue Red Hero. Because yeah, his deploy set's really weak.
yeah.
Uh, poor Red Hero. This set. Next up is Ray.
Um, Great. You play a non-unit force card. It's very specific. like really specific, very limiting. And then you can deal damage to a unit if you had played one. Okay. Her numbers are fine, 6, 8, but she's a 7-drop. When deployed, discard your hand to draw 2 cards. I don't think that's that great.
I like to joke with her. Like her front side seems fine. Like it's an ability. It's not like super strong, but it's like fine.
Yeah.
And then that they gave up on her deployed side. They were just like,
you expect like some impact on the deploy side
Yeah.
for leaders in general.
like
And now, if it was 3 cards, maybe, but I don't know. For 7, no.
yeah, like her deployed side doesn't even interact with her front side at all. They're just disconnected. Like
Yeah.
they're like loosely related because if you're playing force throw plus a 2-drop on turn 2, you're going down in hand size. So maybe she refills your hand, but like I really wish she would have been like when deployed, deal 2 damage to a unit for each non-unit force card in your discard pile or whatever, and then she gets to like snipe a guy on enter, and she feels a lot more like Yoda. Like that would have been great.
Yeah.
Her current design, it's just like that. It's not enough impact for a 7 to play leader, even if she's got great stats. And her front side isn't like that impactful that you can justify the late and over deploy.
No.
So yeah, I don't see her seeing flag. I'm not even playing her unlimited unless people pass me 3 rays and that's all I can pick.
Yeah.
Next up is Temple of Destruction.
I don't see playing this one over the 28 hit point bases. I mean, yes, you don't. At least you don't have to attack with a force unit, but you have to deal combat damage to a base, 3 damage.
Mm-hmm.
And then you can gain the force, or for 3 extra hit points, if you're playing a force deck, you probably have force units in your deck, so you can attack with that and gain the force.
Yep.
And you don't even have to attack the base if you don't want to.
Yeah.
So yeah, not excited by Temple of Destruction.
If you're already having to attack to get the force, just play the 28 force base and get 3 extra HP. Like,
yeah.
Just like if you want to use the force, put force units in your deck. Like,
right.
This just is not going to see any play unless it's some weird fringe deck that's not having any success. Because 28 HP base is so much better.
Mm-hmm.
Then we've got Acolyte of the Beyond.
I guess this is one of those situations where if you aren't playing a base where you want to attack with a force unit, you can use this to gain the force. And then when defeated, you can gain force. Maybe in some sort of villainy force deck, this might see some play. I mean, it's a 2/3 if you need to fill out your curve. But if you got force units and a force base, it'll already gain you the force. So this one's okay.
Yeah, it's like the last 2-drop you put in your force mid-range deck. Like,
yeah,
you're not excited about it. It still gains you the force, even if they Tarkin Town at turn 1. Still gains you the force when it attacks. Not having the force trade itself is really annoying. So like it doesn't turn on force throw or lightning or anything like that. It's just okay. I would have much preferred if it was a 2/4. If it was a 2/4, I'd be really excited about it.
Yeah, and at least its numbers would be worth it.
Yeah, 2/3 like just gets murdered by a battlefield marine or whatever. Feels kind of bad.
Yeah. Well, he gets murdered and creates force.
Sure. Then we've got the 2/4 in red villain. This is HK47.
2/4 with a decent ability. I mean, enemy unit is defeated, deal 1 damage to a controller's base. That can get annoying. I could totally see the opponent wanting to deal with this card to stop taking damage every time one of their units dies.
This ability on a really sticky unit with 4 health is obnoxious. Like,
yeah,
this will definitely see play probably in every red villain deck. There's just like no downside to running it, unless you really need the force.
Yeah.
It's a droid, so General Grievous can give it Sentinel. um, Not like Grievous Rat is a good deck or anything, but that's neat.
Right.
Um, it's the cheapest unique Seth tied with Vane for rule of 2. So maybe there's some blue-red rule of 2 deck that makes that happen. But yeah, it's just a very strong generic card. It'll definitely see play.
Yeah. It's a legendary though.
Yeah, it's one of the legendaries you're happy opening. Like you'll actually put it in decks. Then we've got Strike Ship.
Kind of the villainy Green Squad A-Wing, sort of. Attacking for 3, that's great. Overwhelm, okay, fine. But man, if it gets attacked, you feel bad.
Yeah. Finally, a budget Kylo's TIE Silencer replacement. We've been waiting 5 sets for it, or 4 sets, I guess, if you can count set 2. Which is like nice, but definitely don't put it in your deck unless you need extra terminal plays after Kylo's TIE Silencer. Really sucks that it has 0 power on defense. Like 1 power at rate 2 would have been much better. Because that does actually matter and it messes with math.
If being able to kill an opponent's unit and not take anything back, that feels good for me when I say, I'm gonna take out their unit.
For sure.
I didn't take any damage. My shield is still there,
Yep. And it's nice that it has Overwhelm if you're like killing TIE fighters, you get that extra damage to base. Yeah, it'll definitely see play in some decks that want more space presence than just Kylo's TIE Silencer. There's nothing better to play. Oh, it's underrolled for Cat Bane also, which actually matters. It'll see play over Kylo's TIE Silencer and Cat Bane decks. Because then you get that paying Tarkin down turn one still. Next is Grand Inquisitor.
I like this one. 3/4 hidden, raid 1. Other friendly Inquisitors gain hidden. So if you're playing an Inquisitor deck, you can give them hidden. That's fine. But numbers are fine. 3/4 with hidden and raid 1. I could see it being useful.
I think it's rare that the bottom text actually matters, given your other Inquisitors hidden. But being able to play essentially a 3-cost 4/4 within seems great to me. Like,
yeah.
I consider that in a lot of decks. Like General Grievous is borderline as a 4/4 vanilla where you don't even use his text at all. So getting hidden as a bonus, yeah, maybe.
Yeah.
Again, Imperial argument for those 2 Tarkin players that are watching this. There you go. But yeah, seems great. He'll definitely see some play. And then we've got Purge Trooper.
It's very specific against the Force unit. Like, great, you can deal 2 damage to a Force unit. So if you've got your anti-Force deck out there, I can see including this. 4/2, I mean, it deals decent damage, but it gets knocked over by Stiff Breeze. So, but it's an Imperial, it's a Trooper. It's okay. Like in limited, I would totally play this.
I wish it was like deal 1 damage to a unit if it's a Force unit, deal 2 instead. Like it just doing nothing. If your opponent's not playing a Force unit, it's like makes it really difficult to argue it being worth a slot, even like sideboard potential. It'll be a beast in limited probably. Will hit everything your opponent plays. 4/2, that's decent aggressive stats.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't see it in Premier. There's just not every deck's going to be a Force deck.
Right.
Next up is Heavy Missile Gunship.
Action, deal 2 damage to a ground unit, or you can just attack and do 4 to something. I don't know. This one's one of those that I don't like the numbers. Its ability, maybe a bit situational. Yeah, it's a Separatist and a droid, whatever, but I don't know. Not too keen on this card.
So you play a Porg for free, and then you exploit it on turn 1 with Dooku. And then it's great. I think Dooku decks might legitimately play Porgs because it enables interactions like that.
Yeah.
Uh, yeah, like outside of Dooku, it's just not up to snuff. Its stats aren't good enough. The ability doesn't matter often enough. Like, they're just better space units you can play.
Yeah.
I think that's like every separatist card at this point, though. Like, they're all designed with like this Dooku tax of like, if we over design it, then it will be broken in Dooku. So we have to like kind of under design it so it doesn't get broken in Dooku, and then it's just like terrible everywhere else
And then
because
it's yeah.
it lost points because of Dooku. Yeah, it's a little annoying, but I don't know. Maybe in limited, there's like not a lot of space presence in limited this set, so being able to just put space units in your deck could just hit for 4 a turn uncontested because everyone's trying to play on the ground and gain their force. Yeah, I don't see it in constructed.
Nah.
And then we've got the Scythe.
Uh, I mean, it's a 4 cost 3/5 Imperial. If you're playing Inquisitors, I can see using this. If you're not playing Inquisitors, then no.
Yeah, it's pretty straightforward, right? If you're playing Inquisitor Tribal, you put it in your deck. If you're not playing Inquisitor Tribal, don't put it in your deck.
Then you don't. Yeah.
Yeah,
Or
I
if,
personally don't think Inquisitor Tribal is quite there yet. This and the Grand Inquisitor unit are cool pieces, but it's still missing points of the curve, and they're like split out across colors. It's a little annoying.
yeah.
But maybe we'll get there eventually. And then we've got Thralls of the Coven.
Um, very similar to cards from past sets. I can't remember the name of it, but another one of those types of 3-something raid 3 cards. It's an okay card. It'll be good in limited, because 7 health is going to be hard to get rid of, and you're attacking for 6. In constructed, it just doesn't do much. No immediate impact anyway.
It is interesting that it can kill 5 cost 6/6s and live.
Yeah.
If you have initiative, of course, which is an annoying stipulant. It's obviously insane in Grand Inquisitor. Like,
Yeah.
Yeah, my Clan Challengers gets an extra health for no weird reason. Yeah.
That's it. Play challengers.
Outside of Grand Inquisitor, I don't see it seeing play because Grand Inquisitor does give it that immediate impact that your 5-drop kind of needs.
Yeah.
It gives you that instant attack. Outside of Grand Inquisitor, it's just a beat stick, like big vanilla beat sticks this far up the curve. Just don't see play.
No.
Then we've got Savage Oppress.
Man, like the numbers, and it overwhelms, but you must play the Force when played and when defeated. Otherwise, deal 9 to your base. That could easily be abused by the opponent. Like, just wait until you don't have the Force and defeat them, so you take 9. I think it's just too risky.
Yeah, so in a serious context, don't put this card in your deck. It's just it's an insane liability. Like, taking 9 is an insane cost.
Yeah. Or
like,
don't use a Force ever.
Yeah.
And then what's the point?
Now, on a more whimsical note, you can sneak attack it in Thrawn. Or no, we can't sneak attack it. That would be 3 colors. I guess in Twin Suns. But you can play it in Thrawn, and you can just not have the Force at all, and then deal 9 damage to your base when played. You can suicide it, and then double trigger it and do 18 damage to your base, and just suicide if you're on a 25 HP base. Kill yourself. Which is funny. And what was the other thing? Oh, the other thing is if your opponent no glories it, they have to use the Force when they take 9, which is very amusing. That's not enough for it to make the cut, though. It'll just die to units on board. But that is a funny interaction. But yeah, it's not going to see play like at a competitive level. It's just too risky. And you can't like pair it with ECL even because you need the Force. So
yeah.
Then we've got Sith Holocron.
It's. I don't think I'd be playing this card. great, +1/+1 on attack, deal 2 damage to a friendly unit, and then get +2 for this attack. I'd just rather play something else that just gives me the +2 or the
Yeah.
+3.
So for the most part, this is like a relatively bad card, but like again, deck space. Like deck space is always an issue. Like, am I really making space in my deck for an experience with like small upside text? Probably not.
Nah.
It is interesting that with grit units, it can basically be a +5/+0 pump because you can deal 2 damage to the grit unit you put it on. Outside of that, doing cute like grit stuff, it's not going to see play.
Yeah.
Next up is Battle Fury.
Now, like a 2-cost 3/3 upgrade, that in itself sounds pretty good. Having to discard a card from your hand outside of like Kylo set 2 or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to discard too many cards from my hand. Not every time I attack, anyway.
So the two primary things with this card is it seems like it's designed as a custom card for Kylo from set 2. Like that seems obvious.
But he's not even on the picture.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean they could have put him on the picture. They chose the small seed instead. And the other thing is if you have no cards in hand, this card is no downside, which is very similar to the Kylo thing. That's why it works so well in Kylo. Outside of that, like I don't see many decks that want to be top decking every turn just to get a +3/+3 upgrade for 1 resource cheaper than you usually can get it.
Yeah.
So yeah, I don't see it seeing play outside of Kylo. It'll be a beast in Kylo probably though.
Yeah.
Next up is Darth Maul's lightsaber.
If you play it on Darth Maul, you can immediately attack with them and get overwhelmed. So, but yeah, you can attack bases, so you have to attack a unit. That's fine. If you want maybe a cheaper alternative to like a Darksaber or something, something that gives you +4 attack, fine.
Mm-hmm.
Otherwise, it's not super fantastic.
So the we already discussed the leader. The leader's relatively bad, so that's not why this card would see play. The Darksaber point is a good argument. Like it's only 1 health less than Darksaber for 1 less resource, and Darksaber's experience text rarely comes into matter. So I can see it in an aggressive slanted villain deck for sure. And then it's really good with the Darth Maul unit from set 3 that can attack 2 units at once. So you can like get ludicrous overwhelm numbers because you get overwhelm from both units. So like this puts him to 9 power. If you attack 2 1 health units, you do 16 overwhelm, which is kind of crazy. Yeah, outside of that context and the like Darksaber equivalent, it's not going to see play. Maul's not going to see play.
Yeah.
Now, if it worked on the Maul from set 2, the one that gives your whole board overwhelm, that would be quite nice. But it doesn't because he's not a Darth. He's
not a Darth. Yeah.
Yeah. Got his legs chopped off and lost the title. Now we've got Death Field.
2 damage to each non-vehicle unit, and then if you control a force unit, draw a card. I don't know. I don't necessarily see myself playing this unless it was some sort of a control deck where I don't know. I mean, well, it is enemy units that you're dealing damage to, but it costs 4. It's one of those maybes.
Like not hitting vehicles like kind of kills this card in my opinion.
Yeah.
Like the go wide deck is Vader for yellow, and like this just does nothing against the only meta go wide deck currently.
Yeah.
Which is kind of annoying. Like the draw card's nice as a bonus. The deal 2 to your opponent's board that probably matters against aggro boards. It can let your units on board clean up their units. But like, am I slotting this in over the other anti-aggro options? Probably not if I'm a 4 deck. So yeah, it's just probably not going to see play.
Yeah.
Now we've got Adi Gallia.
This one I could see being annoying. When an opponent plays an event, deal 1 damage to that player's base. Yeah, just one of those little annoyances. It's like you want to play some event and suddenly you got to take 1 point of damage. 2 cost, 2/4, Force Jedi, Republic. This card's all right.
Yeah, very similar to HK47, where it's just like annoying. Like it's just a really annoying text on a sticky body for a 2-drop.
Yeah,
This one has much more relevant traits, which is nice.
yeah,
So I definitely think it'll see some play. Stack it with Saw Gerrera from set 1, and your opponent has to
right.
deal 3 to their base to play an event.
Yeah, that could be really bad.
Double red event hate, here we go. But yeah, she'll see play. She's pretty great. And then we've got a tuned Frynok, or Furnock.
4/1 hidden. I mean, if you're playing it on turn 1, the hidden is kind of irrelevant.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I guess there are things that could ambush you on turn 1, but being able to deal 4 in some sort of aggressive deck, that could be good. It's a creature. I just don't know of any good creature decks yet, so it's one of those that maybe. But against any type of ping deck or anything like that, no.
Yeah. I think its best use case is in Kanan. You can shield it turn 2 and then either start attacking face or kill their turn 1 play and live. That's like fine. That's okay.
Yeah.
If Kanan red's a deck, you'll definitely play 3 Furnock probably. Outside of Kanan, it doesn't excite me. Being weak to ping, being weak to turn 1 I guess it can't get ambushed on turn 1, but ping's a genuine problem. Like it gets killed by literally everything because of 1 health after 1 attack. Just like whatever. So yeah, it doesn't excite me outside of Kanan.
Yeah.
Now we've got Jedi Starfighter.
I like being able to deal 1 damage to a space unit. The 1/4, I mean, it's sticky for a turn 1 play. Just doing the 1 attack and not doing more than that, it's just a little weak in my opinion. But its ability is all right. I mean, I guess technically you're doing 2 damage, but you can attack a base and slowly ping one of their units off. But if they have anything with 4 attack, or if you have any damage on this, they can safely run anything into it and live.
Yeah. It is nice you can kill 2 TIE fighters at once. That is relevant. Again, Vader 4 yellow. Gosh darn it, why are you so good? We got to talk about you with literally every card. It's a Jedi, so it's nice in Mephisto, obviously. You can get that extra 2 damage from the kit ability. It seems nice in Anakin. With Anakin buff, it attacks for 3, and then you can deal the 1 damage and do 4, so you can potentially trade up into like Millennium Falcon, which is nice. It's not really a use case Anakin had before. I'm sure there are some other situations where this card is good, but it's definitely more niche than just like an auto include. I think A-Wing is more obviously powerful because it hits base pretty hard, but I could definitely see certain situations where you'd want this over A-Wing.
Yeah.
Next up is Jedi Knight.
Okay, it's got Force and Jedi keywords. Traits. 3/3 for 3, so the stats aren't fantastic. But if you have the initiative, you can deal 2 damage to an enemy ground unit. That could be pretty good. It's okay. I can see it in those situations where you need to fill in your 3-drops. But there's a lot of competition for 3-drops.
Yeah, I just think there's too much competition for this card to see much play. It's a similar argument to past cards where if it's only good half the time, like on curve, you only have the initiative about 50% of the time. It's just a vanilla 3/3 without the initiative. That's pretty garbage. So yeah, it doesn't spark joy if a card is bad half the time.
Yeah.
Pretty doom and gloom for my opinion of the card. Next up is Kieti Mundi.
Numbers are okay. I mean, 4 for 4. But use the Force, draw 2 cards. I like that. For Jedi Republic.
Mm-hmm. This card's like ridiculously strong in my opinion. Like, it feels so weird when all the other card draw is like super overcosted. And
Yeah.
Kiadimundi's just like, yeah, just have the force. You get like insanely over a card draw spell that's attached to a 4/4 for some reason. It makes hammerheads hit harder. It lets you force throw your opponent safely because you're not afraid of that card disadvantage that you have to do to play the force throw and play a unit on curve. Um,
Hmm.
like he just seems like an auto include in any red force deck.
Yeah.
And then we've got Kit Fisto's Aether Sprite.
Um, having essentially a power failure ability on a unit, and it's a 4/5 saboteur. I think this card's pretty good, especially when I guess 7 rolls around and potentially disabling Fang Fighter, stuff like that, phase out. This could pick up that slack.
Yeah, it is pretty crazy that this doesn't say non-leader. This kills pilot leaders still.
Yeah,
Rip
just
pilot leaders.
any number of upgrades.
I don't know why that we're allowed to confiscate you and Fisto's Aether Sprite you, but we can.
Yeah.
Uh, so yeah, it seems pretty great to me. Like if you need a mid-game space unit, like 5 cost 4/5 Saboteur is like almost good enough on its own. So if the upgrade text is like relevant, even like 50% of the time, it's probably worth slotting in your deck if you have space.
Yeah.
Definitely gets these sideboard play. Also, it's pretty mean against Kylo to rip all his upgrades off him. And Kylo might be a relevant meta deck. Kylo's pretty strong. So, yeah, seems like you'll see play. Then we've got Ray.
So if you draw this card during the action phase, so if you've got any type of card draw ability, like Kiadimundi, for example, now you got to control a red leader or base, and you can reveal it and deal 2 damage to a unit and 2 damage to a base. That could be pretty good. Again, it all has to line up. You have to draw it during the action phase, not during the regroup or whatever. 5 cost 5/5 Force Jedi. This Ray happens to be a Jedi. I can see it seeing some play.
So I don't think you ever hardcast it. I don't think you ever play it as a 5 cost 5/5 unless you've got literally nothing else to do.
Right.
That's pretty bad, especially with no text. Like 5 cost 5/5s with text don't see play. But in a deck where you can repeatedly use this ability, like Yoda is the prime example, you can use Yoda to put it on the top of your deck, and then I have a C-3PO in play. Hey, I guessed 5, raise on the top of my deck. I draw it, and then I get this Ruthless Raider effect. Seems pretty great. So it's like a pretty obvious upgrade to any Yoda red deck. I don't think there's any other leader that easily stacks it, so it's primarily a Yoda card, but that's something to look out for in the future if there are other leaders that let you stack the top of your deck, so you can redraw it multiple times. It's also like okay in aggro if you're playing like Kiadimundi, for example, and you just randomly draw it and you get 2 damage to base and then you resource it. Like it's like fine, but it's definitely at its best in Yoda currently, I think. Now we've got Mace Windu.
6/6/6 overwhelm and use of force to deal 4 damage to a unit. That could be pretty good. The 4 damage. Play them and deal with something, kill something, or set something up to be killed. I think this one's decent.
Yeah, so he's like the closest comparison is Wrecker. Wrecker deals 5 and is a 7/6, but you have to defeat a resource.
Yeah, this one just use the force.
Yeah, losing 1 power and 1 damage and keeping your resources, like that's definitely worth it. Wrecker sees a ton of play, mostly because of ECL, but he still sees some play.
You could ECL this too.
Yeah, if you have some way to gain the force outside of force space, which is
Right.
a little annoying, but you can play directed by the force if you really want to ECL. But yeah, like I definitely see him seeing some play. Not defeating the resource for the damage is a very strong upside. It allows you to continue to rank towards your home ones, your crates, etc. These later game heroism decks like to play. And we've got Sindralig.
I like being able to play a lightsaber from your hand for free and then ready them. But if you don't have a lightsaber, you've got a vanilla 5/6 8 drop.
Yeah, that's really bad.
It really is. So yeah, I mean, great if you have a lightsaber and it does something really cool. But otherwise, it's just too. There's better things to do with 8 resources that would guarantee impact, no matter what you have in hand.
So I think he will be stellar in limited and in Twin Suns to just like randomly come in ready and kill people. Like that'll happen all the time, I think. Uh, in Premier, I think it's too easy to mitigate his impact, or you'll just not draw lightsabers, or like you can't ever play him if your opponent has open resources. He'll just get waylaid. He'll get Power of the Dark Sided, No Glory, etc. Um, so you have to wait till your opponent's tapped out. So like maybe they super laser blast and you play this and you play Night Saber and you attack for 8, and then they Power the Dark Side. And it's like if you didn't kill them, like that was just a waste of 8 resources when you could have played a home one and 3 drop or whatever.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think the competition is just pretty stiff for 8 drops. So I don't think we'll see much play. Speaking of Night Saber,
Yeah, I mean, 2 costs, 3/2. Um, a cheap upgrade that gives you +3 attack. Uh, if you've got room for these types of upgrades in your deck, I could see this being in there.
yeah, great stats for cost. I like them more than 3 cost upgrade. I like 2 cost upgrades more than 3 cost upgrades if a leader costs 5. Like generally
Yeah.
playing upgrade plus 3 drop is what I like. If I'm upgrading my leader. So if I was playing Kephisto, I'd probably play this card because you can put it on Kit and you make him a 4/8, and then you get buffed by your other Jedis. You probably play a 3 cost Jedi with it, and then you attack for 5 Saboteur. Seems great to me. So yeah, if you've got space for your deck, like all the numbers line up well, seems great. Now we've got Focus Determines Reality.
Raid 1 and Saboteur for the phase. All your friendly force units. Cost 2. There's lots of cards that give a +1 or a +2 for the phase, and they rarely see play. This one does give you Saboteur, so if there's Sentinels to deal with, this could really, ruin your opponent's day. But outside of that, I mean, it's not fantastic. It's another one of those give everything a buff, cards.
So to match Surprise Strike, you have to have 3 Jedi or Force units in play. That's
Yeah.
a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's quite a few Force units. I don't know how often the Saboteur match matters to make up for that. Like, it's really nice if your opponent has a Sentinel, but if your opponent doesn't have a Sentinel, this card just feels below rate. Yeah, I don't know. It just feels like a limited and Twin Suns card. I don't think it'll see play in Premier. It's just not worth the deck slot.
Yeah.
Next is Paz Vizsla.
Double grit.
Mm-hmm.
If you've got some sort of grit focused deck, or this thing has damage on it, and you're playing a double red, you could potentially attack for a lot. Other than that, I mean, too specific. Has to be double red. But in certain double red decks where, like I said, where you get grit, that could be good.
So if you put 5 damage on him, he attacks for 13. That must be busted. Yeah, the biggest problem is, again, he's a 5-drop with no immediate impact, which is already bad. He's double red, which, as far as I can tell, has not had like a tier 1 or even really tier 2 deck performance in the meta so far. I think Luke Tarkentown has been the closest deck, and that's still a fringe deck.
And double red Grand Inquisitor.
I mean, yeah, he's great with Grand Inquisitor. You ready him and hit for 7, or in Hantu you can play him 4, and then he's a 7/4. That's pretty interesting. I think Hantu is the most interesting application. But like, I don't why wouldn't I play green and get home one, or play blue
Yeah.
and get Luke? Like playing double red with Han 2 is just like there are better options.
Yep.
So yeah, I think he's just unfortunately gonna fall into the like double red isn't good, so this card isn't good type thing. And there's nothing really wrong with his text. It's just he doesn't have a home currently.
Yeah, the double red I think really hurts this card.
Mm-hmm. Next up is Witch of the Mist.
No, I mean 1/3 hidden doesn't really do anything. Fine, it can't be attacked when you first bring it into play on turn 1, but who cares? Uh, if you bring it into play later, again, I'm not afraid of the 1/3 you just played.
So it is. There are a couple of applications. You can play 4-star turn 1 with it. Not like that's not always great, but in some matchups, being able to throw turn 1 if they don't have enough cheap cards and you gotta kill their turn 1 play. Would I play a 1-cost 1/3 that said discard a card, kill my opponent's turn 1 play? Probably.
Yeah.
You do, of course, have to actually draw it in combination with Force Throw. It's also a nice curve filler. Like in Mother Talzin, it's pretty common that you play Talzin's Assassin or Dark Tyrannus on your flip turn on 5 resources, and then you have one unspent resource that you could put into a Witch of the Mist. Obviously, you'd ideally have Force Throw, but you always want Force Throw when you're playing Force decks. So it's like another option. And it's like, I think it'll excel mostly in limited as just like a really cheap unit that they can't remove to guarantee you get the force next turn for your leader. That's like the primary use case. I don't think it's like a super exciting card in Premier. Like it might see some fringe play, but I don't think it'll be like a head runner that's like an auto-included red decks or anything like that. And we've got DRK1 Probe Druid.
Some more upgrade hate, but non-unique upgrade. Very specific, so it's not going to target like pilot leaders and certain specific upgrades that you probably want to target. 2/3. I mean, if you need extra upgrade removal, it's not horrible. Other than that, I can find other things to do in red.
So non-unique, like almost nearly kills this card in my opinion until
Yeah.
post rotation. Like not hitting Dark Saber, not hitting Pilot Leaders. Like these are two of the scariest upgrades in the meta, and it doesn't hit either of them. 2-cost 2/3, like I'd much prefer it was a 3/2. 2/3 is like pretty garbage stat line. The most interesting thing going for this card is a 2-cost droid that the Invisible Hand can play for free.
Mm-hmm.
And that's like actually interesting. If your opponent has an upgrade target and you get to play Invisible Hand and a DRK Probe Droid and kill their upgrade, like that's an insane tempo swing for 1 action. But like outside of Invisible Hand decks that might play 1 or 2, I don't see it seeing play until post rotation.
If it wasn't non-unique, I'd probably seriously consider putting this in just about any deck.
Yeah, I might play it over Fangfighter.
Yeah.
Because it's cheaper. You want your upgrade hate to be as cheap as possible. That's why Confiscates these play.
Yeah.
But yeah, non-unique. Killed it. Then we've got Infused Brawler.
Oh, it's great. You get a 4/4 that slowly kills himself. I mean, chances are your unit isn't going to live more than a couple turns anyway, so that's probably fine. And get a little bit out of him before he goes. But I mean, if you've got one of those Force Knight decks, maybe I can see playing it. I just don't see playing it in many other Force decks.
Am I going to get flamed for saying I'd rather play Witch of the Mist? It's just like it's so garbage on turn 1 unless you're playing Avar or Mystic Monastery where you can get the Force on turn 1. And those decks, it's pretty good. It's a 2-cost 4/4. Like that's great. Knowing it slowly shrinks itself, but can't really complain when you get a 2-cost 4/4. But yeah, in decks where you can't get the Force turn 1, like it's a turn 1 play that you only really want to play after turn 1. Like that's not great for me. Like
nope.
I just want to curve out. I want to play 3-drop into 4-drop into 5-drop. Like I don't want to play a 2-drop off curve. No, thank you. Even if it's a 4/4. In limited, it'll probably be pretty good in limited. Like being able to put it in your deck as a turn 1 play that you can play later. because limited decks don't always perfectly curve. I mean, if your
Yeah.
limited deck is perfectly curving, you drafted like a god, and no one stands a chance. But yeah, I'm not excited for Premier. I could see it in limited, and
Yeah.
I could see it in Twin Suns as well because there's not a lot of options for 2-drop force units. Then we've got Cartel Interceptor.
Another a neutral version of Great Squad A-Wing.
Mm-hmm.
2/3 with raid 2. So attacks for 1 more, but costs 1 more. I could see playing this in an Underworld deck. Other than that, I don't know.
I think unfortunately, like this seems like it could be a CAD card in some weird world, but the competition for 3-cost Underworld space units is actually really tight. Mistender and Punishing One are both really good if
Yeah.
in the right situations. So that just leaves it as like the third best ship, and I'm probably not putting 3 ships in my CAD deck. Probably just Mistender and Punishing One, or just Mistender. So, and Smuggler Starfighter's in that argument too, someplace. But I'm not a CAD expert, so I'm not gonna go too deep into that. So yeah, I mean it'll be fine and limited. It hits pretty hard, and there's a limited space presence because of the force focus. Outside of that, I just don't see it. There's better options. Next up is Hyena Bomber.
Another separatist droid vehicle. 3 cost 2/2 is bad.
Mm-hmm.
When played, if you control another red unit, you may deal 2 damage to your ground unit. A bit situational. Obviously, you want to be running a decent amount of red cards, and they have to have a ground unit. I just don't see playing this in very many things.
It just doesn't kill anything on curve. Like people
No.
are going to be playing 3/3s or 2/4s, so like this 2 damage just rarely matters at all. Um, it's a droid, so you can give it Sentinel Grievous, you can pull it off Invisible Hand, but like I don't think none of those none of that redeems just like a mech card. Like I'm not even gonna be excited to play it in limited. I don't think it's just gonna
No.
be in my deck because it's a 3-drop, and I didn't get enough of them.
And I
They're
didn't
good.
pull enough. Yeah.
Then we've got Jedi in Hiding.
3/3 for 3 is not great unless you have some cool ability. It is hidden, so at least it'll stick around for a turn.
Mm-hmm.
And then when defeated, each opponent discards a card from hand. So if you've got some sort of hand disruption, this could be good. In Twin Suns, this could be really annoying. Um, I don't necessarily seeing this get a lot of play.
If there is a Quinlan red yellow discard deck that opts for the force space over the Tarkin Town, which I honestly don't think is likely, but there is a world where that is an option. Jedi Hiding would obviously go in the deck, I think.
Yeah.
Maybe just be like a guy that adds to your discard redundancy and is also a force unit, so it gets you the force itself. Pin's a nice bonus. I don't think, Jedi trait, General's Blade thing. That should. Someone in the comments count how many times over the series I mentioned the General's Blade argument, because it is quite a few. Like there are so many Jedi in this set.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean it seems okay. Like 3/3 is a little lacking, but the rest of the words are good. Just problem is space.
Yeah.
A lot of problem with these cards are space. Space is pretty tight after 5 sets of the game.
Yeah.
And then we've got Marin.
2/5 for 3. Don't love the stats. Its ability, yeah, you can discard a card and deal 2 damage to a unit, so you can almost pretend it's a 4/5.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know, just having to discard a card every time. I mean, I don't love it. Yes, it's Force Knight, so if you need a card for your Knight deck, fine. Other than that, 3 cost. We talk about competition for 3 cost cards, so not my favorite.
So Baby Poe with Force trait, you can shooting unit for 2 on attack by discarding a card. Like sometimes you have extra cards, so sometimes that text just is free. Sometimes you don't have extra cards, and that text is a very real cost when your opponent is pillaging you. So
Yeah.
yeah, it's like meh. Like it might see play. Being able to attack into a unit and like kill a different unit like Poe can do sometimes is nice to have the option. But there's a lot of 3-drop competition to set.
Yeah. At least Poe attacks for 6.
Yeah, Poe hits hard.
Yeah.
And kills upgrades and makes your opponent discard. Poe's ridiculous. Yeah, and it might see play as some sort of curve filler depending on the deck.
Yeah.
And we've got Tukata.
4/2 hidden for 3. Not great, not special. I mean, it's fine in those types of aggressively slanted decks where you want to make sure you can attack the turn after with your unit, but it's way too easy to get rid of afterwards. Or they
Go
play
ahead.
it in Daring Raid and it's gone.
Yeah, that's a concern. Or Kit Fisto.
Yeah.
Dies to Kit Fisto, terrible card. You heard it here first. But yeah, in Kanan decks and limited where you can shield it, seems great. Outside of that, it's just curve filler. Like it's meh. I don't think it'll see play in any Premier decks. So I'll see play in plenty of limited decks though. It's got decent stats. Then we've got Hunting Nexu.
It didn't see play the first time. I don't think it'll see much play now.
Another frightening card in Kanan and limited. I think that's all we have to say. It's still bad.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, yeah, in limited it's fine, but in constructed, nah.
All right. Now we've got Quinlan Voss.
If it has 6 or more power, you can deal 2 damage to an enemy base. So, yeah, card that's kind of screaming out for an upgrade or a combat pump. 4 costs 4/5, so the numbers are fine. Force Jedi. I mean, the card's okay, but it's not on the top of my list of things I want to put on in the Force slot.
So, like, this card just screams, give me Hotshot Blaster. Please give me Hotshot Blaster.
Yeah, something.
It attacks for 8 immediately. You keep the buffs, then it attempts to attack for 8 the next turn. That's, like, crazy fast. It's kind of scary how aggressive he can be. Like, outside of red, yellow, I just don't see him. Like, or Anakin. Anakin buff gets him to 6 power, and then you get the 2 to base. That's nice application, but Anakin's 4-drop slot is pretty contested, so I don't know. Maybe. Yeah, he's a fine card. If you're playing attack pumps, like maybe consider him. Without him, he's just useless, so don't put him in your deck. Next up is Wampa.
Same as the Nexu. Never played it before. Probably not going to play it now.
Yeah. Copy paste the Nexu argument. Crazy and Kanan and limited. Not seeing play anywhere else.
Yeah.
It probably is just crazy in every deck in limited, honestly. 4 cost 4/5's great stats.
Yeah.
Overall, it matters sometimes. You can reduce it with Molecule. If Molecule is one of your rares in your packs, like, seems good. They've got Asajj Ventress.
Force Knight and Bounty Hunter. 5 cost 5/6. One blade on attack, give another friendly force unit +2 for this phase. That one seems decent.
This at least meets the immediate impact bar that we like to look for. It's a small immediate impact, but at least it's there.
It's something.
I much prefer 5 cost 6/5 to 5 cost 5/6. I hate my stuff getting murdered by Poe and Poe living. I would much rather Poe die in a fire as he kills my thing. But yeah, seems like okay. Like the 5-drop force units actually aren't that great. In villain in particular. So it might see some play. If you've got a force leader that deploys on 5, you can play it, just buff the leader you just deployed. Seems decent. Yeah, other stuff like that. It's obviously works very well with the Quinlan, but you have to already be playing other cards go with Quinlan, and then maybe you check this in as an afterthought. But it's a decent use case as well. Then we've got Blockade Runner.
Too slow. 4/4 for 5. Fine and a saboteur. Combat damage to a base, and then you can give an experience token to it, and so it can grow, but too many things going on there that just take too long for it to really make a big impact.
I think it seems pretty scary and limited being able to just drop this. Like your opponent has no space units and just grows every turn and hits them. Like even if they play a Sentinel in space, which I can't remember like any outside of Ahsoka leader, which is kind of frightening for the for the limited environment. But
Limited, yeah.
yeah, it'll just keep hitting your opponent ideally and growing, and your opponent will die eventually. In Premier, like it's interesting. It's a capital ship. It can reduce it. But I think there are better 5-cost capital ships, so
Yeah.
it's probably not going to see any play. Then we've got Sacy Teen, another guy I butchered the name.
If you have the initiative, you can deal 1 damage to up to 3 things. So, kind of, we talked about half the time this card could be good, half the time not. 4/6, the numbers are not fantastic. Fine, it's a Force and Jedi card. It's just meh.
Yeah, this isn't going to see play constructed. Like having to have the initiative. Like sure, you can kill 3 TIE fighters against Vader, right?
Yeah.
There's the Vader thing again, up the Vader count. But like everywhere else, I don't know how often like the small ping damage matters.
Yeah.
He's a 4/6. Like you really want 5/6 or 6/5 or 6/6, depending on the power of their text, and you're just below that for like text you don't even get all the time. Like it's not good. It's got a lot going against it, so I don't think it's going to see any play.
Constructed, I mean, limited, it might be all right.
Yeah, it'll be okay in limited. That's kind of an excuse argument though. Like, and all sorts of stuff we'll see play in limited because you can't really you can't control what you open or what you draft. So I mean, you do kind of control what you draft, but you can't control what is in the packs that you have the option to draft from.
Right.
Now we've got Ravenous Wrathfar.
I wanted this to be better. They were cool looking in the movie. But anyway, I mean, 8/5 vanilla. Sure, it has big attack. In limited, this could be a beast. In constructed, I just probably not going to play it.
I wish they went harder on the meme. I wish it was like a 14/5. Like just make it really big. Like it's still not going to see any playing constructed that way. It still just dies to random 5 drops in limited. Like I would have liked to see like even more power on this card. Yeah, like it's probably like pretty scary as a top end piece in limited, but it's not going to see any playing constructed. Big beat stick is not where it's at. And we've got Invasion Control Ship.
I mean, if you've got some droid swarm deck, this could be cool, but there aren't a whole lot of droid swarm decks.
Yeah, I mean it's another Dooku card that is like it's too slow outside of Dooku because Dooku ruins every Separatist card ever printed apparently. Like if you Dooku this in, it's probably pretty good. Like you can play Swarming Vultures and Invisible Hand, and then you play Invasion Control Ship, and all your Swarming Vultures gain raid 2.
Yeah.
Like sounds like a cool fun deck. Like I don't expect that to be like winning tournaments or anything, but
no,
it's neat. Yeah, outside of Dooku, it's not gonna see any play. It's too slow. Bendu,
10/10 for 8 on attack, 3 damage to each other unit. That on attack could be good. Unfortunately, that's the turn after it comes into play.
Mm-hmm.
So just something this expensive, you want more of an immediate impact, in my opinion.
Yeah, not even getting overwhelmed. Like,
yeah,
it's a little awkward. Like it's really slow.
I mean, you can Maliki him in for 7.
Yeah, like that's like that. It's probably the best Malakili target in the set because Malakili also makes his on attack not hit your own units, which is nice.
Yeah.
But Like, he still doesn't have immediate impact. He still want immediate impact on 7. I mean, he's really big. Stuff costs 10/10 is hilarious. But, yeah, it's not good enough. Like, maybe in some dream scenario where you have Piet unit in play and Mob Achille, and you go play them on 7 and ambush, and then, kill their Yoda leader and shoot their whole board. I mean, that seems like a great magical Christmas land scenario, but I, I don't see how often that lines up. I think he's just gonna make the cut. I mean, like maybe in like heart control, like if you're killing everything anyway, you can maybe afford to play a slightly slow card that just like wipes
Right.
half their board every attack. And you're not gonna have other units in play because you're playing heart control, so he has no downside.
So yeah,
Like maybe he sees play in that context, but like even then he's competing with Snoke and Palpatine, which are pretty great. So I don't see it. Then we've got heavy blaster cannon.
it's too expensive.
Yeah,
Its ability is fine, like 1 damage to your ground unit, then 1 damage to the same unit, then 1 damage to the same unit. So I mean, you can get through a shield and still do damage to the unit. But apart from that, a 4 cost +2/+2, it's way too expensive.
yeah. I'm just like if I'm looking at a 4 cost upgrade, I want like Darksaber stats, like
Yeah,
+4/+3. I understand it's not unique, so it obviously has to be a little bit weaker. But like this, when played, like how often does this matter? Like I can just put open fire in my deck and get very similar text. I mean, sure, it's good
right.
against shields, but yeah, I just don't know how often my opponent has shielded units, and I want to play a 4 cost +2/+2 and kill their shielded unit. Like that's a lot of prerequisites to just playing a better
I mean,
card.
for that matter, play the card from set 4, the one that defeats shields and deals 3 damage.
Piercing shot, yeah, piercing shot's much better than this card.
Yeah, and it's cheaper.
Yeah, it's just it's not going to see play outside of like a Kylo Twin Suns deck where you just want to fill your deck with upgrades. It's kind of neat that it has a when played effect, so you can get a ton of value out of your Kylo to play. But I don't think Kylo Red's going to see play outside of a hard control context in Premiere. So
Yeah.
yeah, just I doubt we're going to see much of it. Then we've got Sorceress Blast.
I can see using this in the deck though. For just 1, do 3 damage.
Yeah, it's
Use
quite
force, of course. In a force deck, then that's good value, I think.
Yeah, I mean, if you're using the Force and have space for 1 cost removal, this is the most efficient 1 cost removal spell we've got in the game that isn't Force Throw and conditional and probably going to get suspended. Don't at me in the comments. I'm totally going to get flamed for that. But yeah, I mean, it's an efficient kill spell. Like, what more can you ask for? Seems great. Probably see some play.
Yeah.
Then we've got Unleash Rage.
Another one of those, you give a unit plus whatever for the phase. That's fine and all. I'd rather be able to attack with it right away. I mean, all things being equal, I'd rather play Sorcerer's Blast that we just talked about for the same cost, using the Force and 1 resource.
Yeah, it's missing this one line of text that says attack with that unit. Without that text, like attack pumps that don't give you action compression are generally pretty bad.
Yeah.
I don't think this is going to be an exception. Like adding the Force as an extra stipulation is like a problem when there's so many other good cards to spend your Force on. So I don't see it outside of limited. I'll definitely die to it in limited though. People like play 3 in 1 turn and attack for 9 extra with their leader. And I'll die. But yeah, not in constructed. There's just better pumps you can play. Then we've got Ataru Onslaught.
Ready a Force unit with 4 or less power. I mean, we have other ready something cards. They see some kind of fringe play, very specific decks. This one might see some play in some of these Force decks. I mean, 4 or less power, that's a decent amount to be readying, I guess.
This card just feels like custom designed to ready leaders. Like leaders generally have 4 or less power early in the game. Like ready's your Force leader. You got to use its on attack ability again. Like that's what it's there for, and it seems okay. I don't think there's like much application for it in Premiere. Like the primary leader that likes ready effects is Grand Inquisitor, and all of his units have 3 or less power anyway, so just play Keep Fighting and get the generic effect. Yeah, I don't see it in many like legitimate decks in Premiere. It'll definitely be pretty good in limited though.
Yeah.
And we've got do or do not.
Probably do not. I mean, if you've got the force, fine, you can get rid of this card to get two others. If you don't have the force, you get rid of this card to draw another. Why was it in there in the first place then? So yeah, it's just card draw, paying 2 to draw 2 cards. You're really net gaining 1 card. I don't love it.
Like maybe in some Avar like soft control deck where you can get the force on turn 1 and just spend your turn 1 to draw 2 cards. That's like interesting. Boss decks have been doing that with Deathmark for quite a while.
Yeah.
That's like okay. Everywhere else, like yeah, just no. Just put Kiadimundi in your deck and get a 4/4. Like
Yeah.
it's just not worth putting a dedicated card draw thing in your deck that isn't attached to a body. So yeah, it's not going to see any play. It's not even good in limited because card advantage doesn't matter in limited as much. You have to play the board. Then we've got lightsaber throw.
Now, if I had a decent amount of lightsabers in the deck, I'd rather play this than the do or do not.
Mm-hmm.
At least you're dealing 4 damage to a ground unit and drawing a card. Yes, you're spending 2 cards though. You're spending this card and discarding a lightsaber, but you're dealing the 4 damage and drawing a card, for the same 2 costs as that other one. So, do I think this will see a lot of play? No, because I can just play open fire and fire for 3 and not have to get rid of a lightsaber. So yeah.
Yeah, the biggest problem is including enough lightsabers to actually turn this on. This kills most ground turn 1 plays. Actually, it can hit. Oh no, it's ground unit. Yeah, so it kills like almost every ground turn 1 play, which is quite nice. But you have to have a like 9+ lightsabers in your deck to actually consistently draw 1 turn 1 with it to pitch to the card and kill their unit. It is nice that it essentially refunds the lightsaber with the draw card part. So it's a pretty efficient kill spell. The biggest issue, yeah, is just finding space for enough lightsabers to turn on consistently, and I think that's gonna hold it back from seeing too much play. Even in limited, like then we've got Time of Crisis.
This is like another type of like bombing run where you deal 3 damage to everything, except for the one unit that each player chooses. I think this card could be fun.
This is like
whether it's going to be serious play, I'm not sure, but I can totally see it in Twin Suns, and it seems like it'd be fun to just annoy everyone at the table.
So yeah, this seems like a prime candidate for like design for Twin Suns. It's probably great in that format. It's probably pretty bad in limited. In Premier, it is interesting that you can curve this into bombing run. So the unit, their whole board gets hit for 3, except the unit they choose to not get hit for 3, which probably would die. That's why they chose it. And then you just bombing run and you finish off the rest. That's like interesting. I don't see what deck would play that 2 combination of cards unless you're like a hard control deck and need to wipe the board. But like maybe that's an application that I could see in constructed. Outside of that context, I just don't think it does enough compared to bombing run, which like kills everything. Like you for only 1 more resource, hopefully.
Yeah.
So that's the primary use case, I think. Yep, that's it. We've reached the end of aggression.
All right.
Let's wrap this up. If you like this kind of content, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Helps me out. It helps grow the channel. It makes YouTube like me more. All great things. Makes me more likely to make more content like this. Like this takes a little bit more effort than my usual daily-ish videos. I have to actually schedule time with the guest and put together slideshows and stuff. Yeah, do that. This should be the 3rd episode, so we'll have go watch the other 2 or the other 3 if you haven't seen them. I've been having a lot of fun making them.
Me too.
Uh, I think that's all we got. Let's get out of here. We'll see you in the next one.